A 3-year-old in the hospital this morning. He may have shot himself, but police are looking for someone to hold responsible now. Good morning, Tucson starts right now.
In HD, you're watching KGUN-9 on your side. Good morning, Tucson.
Good morning, I'm Greg Goulet.
And I'm Liz Kodalik. It's March 4th. The GMT team of April and Big Al is here with all you need to know to kickstart your day. First up, April has our first warning weather. Good morning, April.
Good morning to you. It is going to be a nice start to the day. We are going to see temps in the low 50s, much like we've been the last several days. And the warm-up will continue. Mostly sunny skies today, partly cloudy at times, but otherwise that is not going to impact the warm-up. 70 by noon, topping out at 75 with mild winds and partly cloudy skies by this afternoon. Big Al, how's it looking out there?
April, if I lived in Rita Ranch, which I almost did back in the 80s, I would not use Valencia Road right now, and I wouldn't use it until I gave myself the all clear, because it is so bad between Alvernon Way all the way past Interstate 10, past Littletown, and around to Wilmot. It's just not worth using. Valencia between Alvernon and Wilmot, a real problem child for us because of all the work that's going on, milling and repaving. They've got a drainage project right here at Wilmot. Big restrictions for travel, again, probably for the next few months. As you try to move through here, I wouldn't. I would use Interstate 10 as your option. I-10, speeds are great there in the 70s and 60s, anywhere from the area of Kolb Road, past Wilmot, past Craycroft, over to the area of Valencia. Easy, doable, and very intuitive alternative to use I-10 instead of Valencia. That is the latest from the Beat the Traffic Center.
Thank you, Al. A 3-year-old boy from a model that's on 19 south of Tucson is recovering this morning after apparently shooting himself.
Pima County Sheriff's deputies responded to the shooting yesterday afternoon in this Amato neighborhood known as Elephant Head. Deputies say the 3-year-old shot himself in the lower torso with a family handgun. A helicopter took the boy to UAMC, but he is in stable condition following surgery. Neighbor Edward Roscoe says most people own guns in this rural area.
And what do you do to make sure this wouldn't happen to your children?
Every day I put my gun in my side. I have a lock, a safe, while I put my gun away.
We all know that young children are very inquisitive, and if they see a weapon, they're going to think it's possibly a toy, and then there may be an accident like we had today.
Charges are on hold until the investigation is complete, but deputies remind parents keep those guns locked up in a safe place. One police officer is dead, another in critical condition this morning after a gun battle in Phoenix. Phoenix police say detectives were chasing a suspect wanted on a felony warrant yesterday. Police say the man crashed his car at this intersection and made a run for it. The suspect was shot and killed in the gun battle with police. 2 detectives were also hit. They were both taken to the hospital in critical condition. One of them, a 21-year veteran of the Phoenix Police Department, died from his injuries. Tucson police are looking for a missing gun this morning. One of their own lost this gun, a Glock pistol, dropped by a police officer who was chasing a shoplifting suspect. They got the suspect, but the gun was gone. It all happened near St. Mary's Road and Westmoreland Avenue. Call 911 or 88 Crime if you know where that gun is.
And the University of Arizona has a new police chief this morning. Brian Seastone officially took over on Saturday. He's been with UAPD for 34 years and served as the university's manager of emergency preparedness. Seastone succeeds Anthony Dakin, who announced his retirement last year.
Drexel Heights man is recovering this morning after being pulled from his burning home. Firefighters could hear that man screaming for help from his living room when they pulled up late yesterday afternoon. Rescuers went through a back door to grab that man, who was severely burned, we're told. Pima County deputy also had to be taken to the hospital with minor injuries. And Tucson's only hot shot crew worries it'll be disbanded soon. Northwest Fire is holding a press conference today about the future of the Ironwood Hot Shots crew. A petition on the website change.org says the Hot Shots are on the chopping block out of the fear of expensive lawsuits in the case of tragedies like that one following the Yarnell fire last year.
And 2 men are in jail this morning following a high-speed chase that ended in an arrest for drugs. It all started in Sierra Vista on State Route 92 near Ramsey Canyon Road. Border Patrol tipped off Sierra Vista officers after they suspected the car was carrying drugs into the city. Police caught up to the car speeding down the highway. The cops began the chase and it eventually ended near a mall. The car hit a curb and the men tried to run away. Jesus Almada and Juan Flores, both Mexican nationals, were arrested shortly after the chase. Inside the car, officers found 420 pounds of marijuana. Both men face multiple charges and are being held without bail. And we now know the name of the victim who was killed in that deadly rollover accident near Keno Parkway and Benson Highway yesterday morning. Tucson police says passenger 21-year-old Devonte Michael Carranza was pronounced dead at the scene. The driver, a 22-year-old female, was thrown from the car. She was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. Detectives believe alcohol and speed were a factor in this crash.
A man involved in the school bullying incident with his Sahuarita High School wrestling team is back in court this morning. 18-year-old Blake Kohler is being tried as an adult for his role in a locker room assault on a teammate. Kohler has already pleaded guilty to lesser charges. Kohler's attorney is arguing his case should be handled in juvenile court because he was 17 at the time of that incident. Tucson City Council is set to vote on a new pet ordinance today that could put puppy mills out of business.
But the owner of the puppy place says she's now caught in the crossfire. The ordinance would require pet stores to sell animals from only shelters and rescue groups.
So you don't get any of your puppies from the puppy mills?
We do not. None of our puppies come in on air-conditioned trucks from out of state.
You know, we hear about, is this business friendly or not? It's the right thing to do. It's ethical.
Well, Councilman Steve Kozachik says nearly 40 other cities, including Phoenix, have similar puppy mill ordinances right now. Black bear sightings in southern Arizona putting residents and campers on alert this morning. Black bears like this may have been spotted on Mount Lemmon and Fort Huachuca in recent months. Arizona Game and Fish says that Sunday night, campers spotted a black bear less than 100 feet away at Pepper Sauce Campground on Mount Lemmon. Now, usually bears would still be hibernating at this time of year. Arizona Game and Fish says the warm weather has drawn them out early, though. Campers and hikers are asked to take extra precautions for their own safety.
A Green Valley couple had quite the mess to clean up after this weekend storm. Check this out. The homeowner tells us a 30-foot saguaro came crashing down Saturday evening after heavy rain and wind hit the area. The National Weather Service reports more than an inch of rain fell in Green Valley with wind gusts up to 50 miles per hour. The saguaro hit the carport, which fell on top of the couple's 2 cars and golf cart, but thankfully no one was hurt.
Now, your first warning weather with meteorologist April Madison.
Good morning. It is 5:07 and it is right around 51 degrees out there. We've got mostly clear skies. We're only going to warm to about 52 through that 8 o'clock hour. Wind is really going to stay calm all day long out of the southeast and then eventually shifting to the west at 5 to 10 miles per hour. 70 by noon, 75. That's what we're going to hit today. That's about 4 degrees above our average, 4 to 5 degrees. So far, we have seen the warmest winter on record for 2013-2014. Second warmest February, third warmest January. We saw 3 record-hitting highs in February, consecutive days in a row, and 6 consecutive days rather, with 80 degrees or warmer. And this is likely only going to go up. We'll talk more about these stats coming up in just a bit. Back over to you.
April, you didn't mention this one. Today is National Pancake Day.
Yummy!
Oh, yeah, and one restaurant is celebrating by giving away free pancakes, but there's a catch.
Well, kind of. IHOPs all around southern Arizona are teaming up with charities to raise money. And for your donation, you get a stack of free pancakes. Yes, the pancakes will be served from 7 a.m. until 10 p.m. today. Tucson area IHOPs are teaming up with the Children's Miracles Network hospitals. Organizers ask each customer to leave a donation behind to benefit those hospitals.
And I eat a lot of pancakes. All of the donations generated here in Tucson will go to the Tucson Medical Center. Organizers say that over the last 8 years or so, they've raised about $13 million nationwide with this free pancake fundraiser.
A lot of other people like pancakes too. Yeah, you want to just get out of here? All right, well, spring is in the air, and you can tell by the pop of the pigskin, right? The University of Arizona is getting ready for football already, and that's ahead on Good Morning Tucson.
Plus Cats basketball as the U of A gets ready for its final 2 regular season games before the rumble for the title.
Plus, a live look at your morning commute before you head out the door. This is I-10 and Miracle Mile. You're watching Good Morning Tucson. Time right now is 5:09.
And back on the field with a healthy Austin Hill, Arizona football started spring practice Monday, and its star receiver returns after missing all of the 2013 with an ACL injury.
On the practice field, the Wildcats strapped on their helmets for the first time since their bowl win over Boston College. Hill had more than 1,300 yards receiving and 11 touchdowns in 2012. The 6'3" senior told Kayla Anderson he is eager to put the injury behind him.
It was like, oh, I got 2 more years left. I'm good. I got 2 more years left, and then I get injured, lose a year. I don't even really remember that year.
Right.
You know, it's just last year.
Right, but you know what you have to do.
Oh, yes, I definitely know what I have to do. You know, I have to put my name back on the mat.
Right.
You know, my name was kind of on the mat, maybe on the edge. Now I got to really, you know, put it back and, you know, make a statement to the nation.
Oh, this is Gerard Randall, one of the Wildcats' new quarterbacks. Coach Rich Rodriguez says he has no idea yet who is at the top QB spot for him and it's going to be.
2 changes in this year's schedule. Now, the season opener at Arizona Stadium against UNLV will now be played on a Friday night, August 29th. And week 2 at Texas San Antonio will now be a Thursday night game. And they are Pac-12 regular season champions with 2 games still to play. Arizona basketball visits Oregon State in Oregon this week.
Well, the Wildcats finished up this season 18-0 at McHale Center. Nick Johnson cutting down the nets on the conference title Sunday night. Sean Miller says they are not changing anything.
We're not going to, sub less or sub more, play any differently. We just want to continue to, play to win and finish out our regular season as best that we can.
And a nice moment after Sunday night's win, the players going up to the Zona Zoo to celebrate with their fans, thanking them for selling out all of the conference regular season games.
Wow, and April's up next as spring heats up. First, a live look, though, at the I think we're going to Houston for this one. It's still a little dark out there. It's still nighttime. Is that rain? It's raining in Houston. They're probably loving it right now.
And here's a meerkat badly in need of some caffeine. Obviously a fan of Jimmy Kimmel and late night talk shows, clearly.
You ask, we investigate. If you have something you want us to investigate, call 290-7726. Email us at news@kgun9.com. We do respond to all calls.
Now, KGUN 9 on your side first warning weather with meteorologist April Madison.
Good morning, 517. You are taking a look out of Memphis, Tennessee, where you've got that yellow tape, trees into houses, trees across roads, wind damage. Yeah, just getting more and more socked by weather. And back here at home, all we're doing is drying up and, well, getting ready for our next round of a warm-up and more dry air. Yeah, it's certainly not going to look anything like this. Man, look at that tree. Holy cow. They've got some work cut out for them to get that thing out of the yard. It's amazing just how much weather really can do. You don't think you got to worry that much about it, and then you see something like that. The power outages galore there in Memphis, Tennessee, and then you got the ice on top of it. Ice can do some pretty serious damage. We don't have to worry about that much here in southern Arizona. We did get a little bit of snow. In fact, I did get an update on Mount Graham's snow over the weekend, up to 14 inches in some locations, up to 24 inches, 2 feet above 10,000 feet. So it was quite the system that moved through here. We have 51 and partly cloudy skies at the airport right now, and believe it or not, still holding on to quite a bit of that moisture. Even though it's starting to push its way further and further north, we are seeing it still swinging through, and that has kept our temps a little bit warmer, at least into the overnights. We're still seeing mostly 40s to the southeast and 50s from about Tucson westward, with just a few upper 40s. We really should be in about the mid to upper 40s. So we're staying on the warm side, and here's why. Here's the cloud cover that's still kind of swinging through southern Arizona. Moisture is now pushed to the north, but the clouds are lingering. High level clouds, so not packing a whole lot of moisture, but enough to hold in what little moisture we still have at the surface from all the rain we received over the weekend. That will eventually begin to dry out thanks to that right there. We're going to continue to see high pressure bringing us warm, dry air over the next 7 days, and that means temps are going to continue to go up as we move into the end of the week. Today we'll hit 70 by noon, 75 under mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies for the official high today. Mount Lemmon even going to warm up a bit to about 49. So any snow they have had has likely melted by now, but they're certainly enjoying the wet ground because we all need it. It'll continue to go up until Thursday. That's the day we'll peak right around 81. Trickle down slowly on Friday into the weekend, holding on to the low to mid 70s for Saturday and Sunday, right back up to the upper 70s to start the new week. Back over to you.
All right, April, thank you. And she'll be back in a second where the rubber meets the road and a race car driver taking a doubting journalist for a wild ride to prove a point.
Plus, hey there, sleepyhead. Time to wake up and smell the coffee, or is it lights out time at the zoo? Who knows?
Looks like me right now. And we will have a live look at your morning commute before you head out the door. This is I-10 and Ina. Time right now is 5:19. We'll be right back. I love this. This poor little meerkat is just way too tired. He's trying to catch some Z's during his meerkat meeting. Apparently they have those. Poor little guy. Man, we know your pain. Oh, look at yourself.
Still, when his BlackBerry goes off. Whoa, we got. Hello.
I love that. We can all relate. Yes.
Wow. Well, remember that viral video of race car driver Jeff Gordon supposedly pranking a car salesman by taking a Camaro on a seriously fast test drive?
Well, that video stands with more than 40 million views this morning. And even though viewers enjoyed the video, most doubted the authenticity of the clip. So Pepsi is doing something about it. April has more in today's must-see moment. April?
I love this one. Pepsi wasn't happy at all about all of the doubts, so they collaborated with Jeff and a cop to prank one of the automotive journalists of Jalopnik, Travis Okolski, who openly called the video fake. Jeff played the part of an ex-convict cab driver who just happened to pick up Travis. During their trip, they get pulled over, but Jeff isn't going back to jail. Take a look.
No, it won't. I'm gonna lose this guy. It never works. This never works. Yeah, you ain't been in my position. You're only chance. He's just not gonna let me out. Sir, just unlock the door and let me out. Jeff Gordon.
Oh my goodness.
Look at him. Oh, eat crow, buddy. The look on Travis's face, priceless, as Jeff burns rubber and the cops give chase. You saw all of that. Could you imagine? Don't you know that guy is like, not only do I stand corrected, but I think I need some new pants.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. I like how he's the journalist and he's like, this never works. I see this all the time. Stop running from the cops. It never works, people. It really doesn't. So
it really doesn't. But for him to call the previous video fake.
Right. They showed him.
That. Just like, I'll show you, buddy.
I wonder if he still charged him the fare for the ride. And a tip?
Probably double. I would need more than a tip.
Yeah,
for sure.
All right, well, spring is in the air. April, how's the weather looking outside?
Finally starting to look like spring again. I say finally, like we haven't already seen the warmest winter on record. Yeah, it's going to continue. We'll tell you just how warm it's going to get coming up.
And while the weather may be picture perfect here, that is not the case in the rest of the United States. We'll have more on this winter storm.
Be glad we live here, okay? And all the eyes are on Eastern Europe this morning as tensions rise between Russia and Ukraine. More on this when Good Morning Tucson returns. Right now, the time is 5:26.
HD, you're watching KGUN 9 on your side. Good Morning Tucson.
Russian President Vladimir Putin is crying coup this morning. The clock is ticking as tensions rise in Ukraine. Now the U.S. is deciding what move it needs to make next. Good morning, I'm Greg Goulet.
And I'm Liz Kodelik. It is Tuesday, March 4th. The GMT team of April and Big Al are here with all you need to know to kickstart your day. First up, April has our first warning weather. Good morning, April.
Good morning to you. We saw that warm-up start yesterday as we warmed to 72. It's going to continue to go up. We will see right around 51, 52 to start the day, so not bad at all. Maybe light to jacket through the early morning hours, but then mostly sunny and warming to 75 for the official high today. It is going to go up before it goes down. We'll tell you just how warm it's going to get coming up. Big Al, how's it looking outside? out there?
Pretty good, April. Our friends in southern Pima County are in good shape this morning. We think that rest stop on the northbound side of I-19 at Kanoa is back open. They had it closed for several weeks due to some work there, some maintenance on the scales. We do have some work down here near the pecan store. They've got a little issue going there with east and westbound travel on Sahuarita Road, north and southbound on the Nogales Highway. Some pretty significant construction. That area is all torn up in terms of big travel issues there. We've got them. As you move through the area, you can use the Nogales if you'd like, or you can just use I-19 as your alternate route. But again, kind of a rough area through this stretch of roadway here, Sahuarita and the Nogales Highway. Speaking of Sahuarita, our friends are getting a little grant money to do some extra school enforcement all this week. It's funded by the Governor's Office of Highway Safety. They provide a grant to give the officers overtime, and that's what we do, extra officers in school zones until Friday. That's the latest from the Beat the Traffic Center. Over to you.
Big Al, thanks. Well, all eyes are on Eastern Europe as tensions continue to rise in Ukraine this morning.
And just this morning, Russia's President Vladimir Putin said that ousted Ukrainian leader Viktor Yanukovych is the legitimate leader of that nation. And the country's interim government is the result of a coup. ABC's Taman Bradley is following the developments from Washington.
Russian President Vladimir Putin is not backing down. Today he called the new Ukrainian government illegitimate, saying it took power as the result of a coup. Although Putin has reportedly ordered some troops at the Ukrainian border to return home, tensions are running high. With the Russian Air Force in the skies, Russian boots on the ground, and the Russian Navy patrolling ports and seas, Putin now controls the Crimea region in eastern Ukraine. It's a huge escalation, raising tensions around the globe. Russia says its troops are there to protect Russian citizens from the unrest in Ukraine, sparked by violent protests that led to the ousting of the country's president.
The country has plunged into chaos and anarchy.
The Pentagon has put on hold all military exercises with Russia, as well as any bilateral meetings. As U.S. officials consider comprehensive sanctions, President Obama again warned Russia.
The strong condemnation that it's received from countries around the world indicates the degree to which Russia's on the wrong side of history on this.
Overnight, Secretary of State John Kerry traveled to Ukraine in a show of support. But there's growing worry that the people of Ukraine may try to stop Putin, touching off a full-scale war. Warning shots were fired when Ukrainian troops marched up to a seized airfield to confront the Russian troops who'd taken it over. Foreign ministers are warning Russia.
I hope very much that even at this stage, the government of Russia will see that it is in nobody's interests to continue to intervene in Ukraine's affairs.
The crisis has rocked global financial markets. U.S. stocks were down sharply on Monday, the biggest impact on Russian and Ukrainian markets. Taman Bradley, ABC News, Washington.
Arizona U.S. Senator John McCain says the United States must take a firmer stance on foreign policy issues. The Arizona Republican told CNN International he thinks the crisis in Ukraine is partly the result of misguided foreign policy.
When the United States of America is drastically reducing its defense, but most of all saying that we're not going to be involved anywhere under any circumstances, sends a message that there is no American leadership. So we are where we are today because of things like, tell Vladimir I'll be more flexible when I'm reelected.
Meanwhile, the U.S. stocks are taking a hit. Investors looking to the increased tensions between Russia and Ukraine. Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped 154 points.
The murder trial of former Olympian Oscar Pistorius continues today. The trial began in South Africa yesterday. Pistorius is accused of killing his girlfriend, Reva Steenkamp, in his home on Valentine's Day last year. Steenkamp was a model who was about to star in a reality TV show before she died. Pistorius, a double amputee known as the Blade Runner, told police he thought she was a burglar when he shot 4 times into an upstairs bathroom. His lawyers are expected to argue Pistorius was deeply in love with Steenkamp and made a terrible mistake. The state says, though, it was cold-blooded murder after an argument.
President Obama unveils his 2015 federal budget today. It includes several tax proposals meant to help low and middle-income families. The White House says tax changes would benefit the working poor, parents, students, and those saving for retirement. That would be paid for by closing tax loopholes. In most years, Congress does not adopt much from the presidential budget proposals, and it is even less likely now since it's a midterm election year. Hey, remember those national parks shutdowns last fall? Grand Canyon was one of them. Well, the Obama administration now says that shutdown cost the country $414 million in lost revenue for the parks and nearby businesses. A new report shows Arizona, California, and 3 other states alone lost $20 million during that 16-day shutdown.
Winter weather and California's severe drought could drive up prices for some of your favorite grocery items. Milk prices could rise as much as 50 cents a gallon in the next few months. Experts say cold weather across the United States is making it more expensive for farmers to keep dairy cattle. Beef is also about to get more expensive. The U.S. Agriculture Department says fresh cuts of beef could reach an all-time high of more than $5 a pound. Dry conditions in California could also affect fruit and vegetable prices.
And Mother Nature is shutting down parts of the nation's capital again this morning. Spring just 2 weeks away now, but you wouldn't know it in most parts of the country. For the first time since 1873, D.C. could see single digits in March. The system that swept through the Northeast is part of a massive storm that spread from coast to coast. It brought rain and mudslides in the west. This was the scene at Kentucky Interstate Monday. A beer truck slid on the icy road, ended up skidding into the median and blocking several lanes. Thousands of flights were canceled yesterday because of that storm. You know what? Lucky for us, Mother Nature is not causing any problems right here in Arizona.
Nope. Let's check in with meteorologist April Madison for your first warning weather. Nothing to expect, right, April?
Well, no. We're just going to see a continued warm up. We're going to see lots of sunshine this week, and temps are going to probably return back to the low 80s, at least for one day. You mentioned earlier it's National Pancake Day. Couldn't be a better day for it. If you're going to have pancakes for breakfast outside, low 50s, you may need a jacket. Pancakes for brunch, it'll be a little bit warmer in the low 60s, low 70s by noon. Pancakes for dinner, hey, why not? I've had pancakes for dinner. I love them. Mid-70s by that point, so it is going to be a gorgeous day. We have a few high-level clouds still lingering out there, not packing a whole lot of moisture, but enough out there to hold in what moisture we got over the weekend that's still at the surface. So yeah, we're still seeing a little bit of sticky conditions out there, about an 82% relative humidity. Thanks to those clouds, we have seen 51 at the airport right now, low 40s to the far southeast of us, and we are going to see those temps go up pretty fast come about noon. So yeah, it is going to be a pretty decent day for you, with the exception of needing a jacket early on. You're taking a live look. Yeah, this is live for Happy Fat Tuesday, one and all. This is out of New Orleans, where celebrations are underway despite the rain and the cold. Today's forecast, thousands of people are expected to line the traditional parade routes to get a prime spot for Mardi Gras. Of course, we all know that's New Orleans' biggest show. They are expecting more rain, but you know, I've seen this in years past. My parents live in Louisiana, and it doesn't stop them.
No.
I'll tell you that right now. So if you are having any sort of New Orleans celebrations, we'd love to see your photos. I contribute at KGUN9.com. Send those in for us so we can see them. And you know, they have Fat Tuesday everywhere. So anywhere you go out to enjoy Fat Tuesday, take some pictures and send them in. We would love to show them tomorrow and show everybody in their celebrations and their beads. Have you ever been to Mardi Gras?
Unfortunately, I have not.
Well,
I need to go.
It's a good time. It's a little scary. It can be a little crazy,
tempting,
a little chaotic, but good times. And like I said, weather certainly doesn't stop them by any means.
That's not rain in Louisiana. That's just thick air.
That's exactly right. That's what they call it.
Well, as you said, April, it is Fat Tuesday, and if you're looking to satisfy your appetite, your sweet tooth, it just so happens to also be National Pancake Day.
Laissez le bon temps rouler. Let the good times roll. Huh? IHOP today, you can get a free short stack of pancakes in exchange for a small donation, and all proceeds will go to the Children's Miracle Network and Tucson Medical Center. Organizers tell us over the last 8 years they have raised $13 million nationwide. They hope to add another $3 million to that after this fundraiser. They want to live vicariously through pancake binges. Snap a photo of your short stack, send it to us at icontribute@KGUN9.com.
Well, if you can't put down that iPad, a car maker has found a way to keep you happy on the road. It's introducing the iCar for those hooked on LinkedIn. That's coming up on Good Morning Tucson.
And remember when the earth opened up, sucked in some of the most expensive sports cars in the U.S.? Well, they're finally pulling them out. We'll show you how they're rescuing those little red Corvettes and blue Corvettes and green Corvettes.
And we'll have a live look at your morning commute before you head out the door. This is I-10 and Orange Grove. Looks kind of busy out there. Time right now is 5:39.
Welcome back. Time right now, 5:43. Some cars are getting a huge upgrade now.
Apple just launched a new device that will make it safer for you to use your Apple devices while you drive. Check out CarPlay. In a new video, Volvo revealed what their Apple CarPlay displays will look like. The system pairs Apple products, creating a home screen in your dashboard with music, maps, and messages apps. CarPlay will be available in select 2014 models. And car fans are breathing a sigh of relief after big progress at the National Corvette Museum in Kentucky.
People were weeping after this when a giant sinkhole swallowed up priceless sports cars 3 weeks ago. ABC's Marci Gonzalez has more on the rescue efforts.
It was an unforgettable scene for sports car lovers. A sinkhole opening up at the National Corvette Museum. 8 priceless pieces of automotive history fell into the giant hole. It was such a disaster that Chevrolet agreed to oversee the restoration work. And nearly a month later, the delicate job of recovering the cars is starting to pay off. The first car, a 2009 Blue Devil Corvette, was carefully hoisted out of the pit.
It looked like the Blue Devil had just kind of been eased down and placed on top there of the sinkhole.
With only minor damage inside and out, the Blue Devil started right up.
It's already in place out in the museum as is, and for people to take a look at. So come on out and see the first one out of the hole.
Another car just recovered, a 1993 red Corvette, is also salvageable. Today and tomorrow, the work continues. A 1962 Corvette may be difficult to hoist out of the hole.
There's a 10-ton concrete slab resting against the front of it, and we've got to hold on to that 10-ton slab and that 1962 Corvette.
The damaged cars are on display for now until they're repaired. The cars that are still buried will stay in the sinkhole until engineers stabilize everything. There's a lot at stake here. The cars are worth more than $1 million. Marci Gonzalez, ABC News, New York.
Thank you, Marci. And April, anything exciting going on in our weather?
Well, we are warming up, so if you were hoping for that, you will like this forecast because we're going to see the 80s probably return, but just briefly. We'll tell you about that coming up.
A woman works an 8-hour day in a factory and just hours later gives birth to a baby boy. Probably would have taken the day off if she knew she was pregnant.
What? And you ask, we investigate. If you have something you want us to investigate, call 290-7726 or email us at news@kgun9.com. We do respond to all calls. Time right now is 5:46.
Now, KGUN 9 on your side first warning weather with meteorologist April Madison.
Welcome back. It's 5:49. It's pretty nice out there this morning. We've held on to the low 50s and only a few clouds kind of lingering out at the airport. 51, 0 wind, 82% relative humidity, though. Our dew point also still at 46 degrees. So we're holding on to a little bit of moisture. That is not in the atmosphere. That's at the surface because we actually saw quite a bit of rain. And so the ground is still pretty saturated, and that's what we're feeling. It's going to continue to dry out, though, this entire week as our warm up continues thanks to that high pressure. So it was very brief. We saw winter for, about a weekend, and that's the reason we have ended up being the warmest winter on record for the 2013-2014 season. We saw the second warmest February, the third warmest January. We had 3 record highs hit in February, 3 consecutive days in a row, and 6 consecutive days with 80 degrees or warmer. So you can see why we've seen the warmest winter on record. And now we're just going to add to that with more highs popping back into the 70s. We're starting to see a lot more of those 60s going away. 70s are now creeping closer and closer to the 80s out west. Overnight lows also staying in the 40s and 50s. Even the lows are staying about 4 to 5 degrees above where they should be. So yeah, it is going to be a very warm winter, which we've already seen. And with this 7-day forecast, you can see no cool down on the way anytime soon. 75 for today, 77 for tomorrow, and then we're going to peak on Thursday at 81 degrees, and then looks like we'll level back out into the 70s for the weekend. So the government called for a snow day in Washington. I don't know if you guys have seen this yet. Pretty cool. Look how some people decided to spend it. A snowball fight broke out in the middle of the National Mall, just feet from the main building of the Smithsonian Institution. Look how many people. It'd be interesting to find out just how many people showed up and were out there.
And they're all congressmen, too.
Right? and dressed very well.
Yes, that's a good thing.
What a lot. I mean, I didn't hear of any injuries, so it looks like everyone just had a lot of fun out there.
I'm from Phoenix, so snow day is just the weirdest thing amazing to me. I am so jealous of these people right now.
So you've probably never, ever had a snow day?
Never in my life have I had a snow day.
See, I grew up in Tulsa, and I've had full-on weeks of snow days.
Cool, but then you pay for it later, right?
You do, either because you only get so long, you know, for your Christmas break and then your spring break. So then you tend to, you know, school takes a little longer in the summer.
Yes, well, that must be a good thing for kids on the East Coast at least. Crazy weather, but you get school off, right?
That's right.
All right, thanks so much, April.
Enjoy anything that comes along. Thanks, April. We're 1 week away from knowing who will go home with the Bachelor's heart.
I know. I am told last night's Women Tell All reunion was almost too much to handle. So for all of us who were not able to catch the drama, here are the highlights. It was 18-on-1. All of the ladies were taking a stand against the man they were all once fighting for. Not only was he called out for his controversial anti-gay remarks, but many of the women said Juan Pabs is a bad listener and on the show for the wrong reasons. Ouch. Andy Dorfman continued her anti-Juan Pablo campaign from last week's episode. And there could be a happily ever after for Andy, though. There are rumors that Andy is the front runner to be the next Bachelorette. It wasn't all bad for Juan Pablo. Single mother Renee described the Venezuelan Bachelor as sweet and romantic. Well, we want to know what you think of this season's Bachelor. This is our GMT topic of the day. Does all the drama surrounding Juan Pablo make you think less of The Bachelor? Or did you never like him to begin with? Leave your thoughts on our Facebook page. And of course, the big finale is next Monday right here on KGUN-9. And meanwhile, we're gearing up for a big announcement on GMA this morning.
And you'll be excited about this one too, I'm sure. In just a few hours, we'll know who will be competing on Dancing with the Stars this season. There have already been a few shakeups for the show. Erin Andrews will fill the co-host spot, taking over for Cheryl Burke. And this year's stars will be announced live on Good Morning America. The 18th season will premiere Monday, March 17th on KGUN-9.
And here's a look at the stories trending this morning. An Indiana woman went to the hospital for stomach pains, only to find out she was having a baby. She says there were no signs of pregnancy. Just hours later, she got the surprise of her lifetime when the birth of her son came along. The woman worked a full 8-hour day on her feet on an assembly line before going to the hospital. Can you imagine? The shocked mom and dad scrambled to come up with a name for the full-term baby boy, weighing 7 pounds and 13 ounces.
Wow, that's a big kid. Yeah. And take a look at this hilarious picture going viral this morning. The 50th anniversary issue of Sports Illustrated Swimsuit Edition was a little bit too much for this little guy to take in. I got to see what he's looking at there. A writer of Sports Illustrated tweeted the picture yesterday in minutes. It got hundreds of retweets. People are calling this the photo of the year.
I agree. And the 86th Annual Academy Awards set a major ratings record. Last night's show was the most watched entertainment telecast in 10 years. A whopping 43 million viewers tuned in. That is the biggest non-sports audience since the Friends finale back in 2004. It was also more viewers than this past year's Oscars or Emmys.
And for the first time, we're hearing from the real winner of the Oscars this year. The luckiest pizza delivery guy of all time. Wasn't Mystic Pizza Julia Roberts' first movie? Listen to this.
You know Julia Roberts? Have you seen it? Great. Okay, wait a minute, we're going to run out. Okay, great. Okay. The whole thing? All right, great. Wait,
Gosh, they get Oscars and now pizza. Are you serious? Well, that guy had the night of his life, and the love keeps on coming. Since his Oscar delivery, his small shop has gotten a huge increase in business. But that's no average delivery guy. He is actually the owner of the Big Mama's and Papa's pizza chain. He's run the company for 8 years and says he does everything from deliveries and baking to managing 20 stores. Big Mama's and Papa's got such an Oscar boost, it actually ran out of dough to bake with Sunday night.
43 million Americans are watching. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking that's when you said American dream, this is the real American dream.
That is right. Ellen is a regular of the shop, so she handpicked it for the Oscar stint. The LA Times says an ad placement during the Oscars would have cost about $1.8 million. Not a bad deal for a shop owned by two brothers. Well, there was a Fresh Prince flashback at the Oscars, too. Actor Will Smith interrupted an interview when he saw a familiar face in the media. And we have a live look at your morning commute before you head out the door. Time right now is 5:56.
Yeah, welcome back. Time right now, 5:59. Oscars were full of surprises this year, and, well, they just keep on coming.
Will Smith had a blast from the past on the red carpet during an interview with ABC's Robin Roberts. Check this out.
Who are you yelling at over there?
Oh, that's Alan. I know the cameraman. He worked on Fresh Prince.
Oh, that's going back away.
I can't believe he still has a job.
See, this is what it's like, isn't it, Jada? Being here, it's all about...
Yep, turns out a cameraman from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air happened to be filming the Oscars pre-show on Sunday night. Will Smith, being the stand-up guy he is, of course, recognized the old pal and interrupted the interview to give him a little shout-out. That's fun.
That is. You remember any Fresh Prince songs?
I'm just in West Philadelphia, born and raised. On the playground is where I spend most of my days.
Wow, that's pretty good. You're getting jiggy with it, I guess. Is that what's that?
That was a good reference, Will Smith. All right, well, we have lots more coming up. Good Morning Tucson at 6 o'clock starts right now.